How we doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're picking up where we left off in part 1 of the guide on how to read softcap the ways I would do it. And we did end quite abruptly in the last episode, so I do apologize about that. However, where we ended was in Helms, and you were grinding for Azula accessories. And by the time you get at all the accessories required, you should be looking to be somewhere around level 54, 55 most likely. And you should have some silver banked up, which we're going to use to pick up some key items to be able to grind Nagas. Fogans is another good area to grind, which is down here. But I would recommend for fresh players to be grinding Nagas because you do get more armor and weapon stones, which is a lot more important in the early game than it will be later on. So the key items I'll show you in BDO Planner in a minute, but once you get to Nagas, you will stay here until level 56, which will not take long at all. And after you hit 56, you will do the corresponding awakening quest line for your character. If you just press down on your D-pad, if you haven't changed your D-pad around, obviously, pull out your black spirit, go to quests, and one of these quests will be have the word awakening in it, which is going to be your awakening quest line. You'll follow that quest, get it done, get your awakening weapon, and then you're going to come back to Altanova, to this node manager right here by Altanova Gateway, so just above Altanova, and you will grab the quest to do Valencia Part 1 quest line. This is very, very, very important because you will get some stacks and some other items which I'll go through in a minute, but let's cut to BDO Planner to show you the gear that you're going to need to be able to go to Valencia to grind Nagas. So these are the armors you're going to want to pick up to be able to grind in Nagas. This is really bare minimum, and Nagas are going to hit you quite hard. What you want to do is just buy plus 15 Gruntle boots and plus 15 Gruntle gloves off the central marketplace. You will already have this helmet for completing the quest line, and then you're going to grab the ultimate reform stones to make them ultimate. When these go ultimate, you'll get an extra 5 DP per item, so this will increase your DP to just enough to be able to survive Nagas, but you will need to definitely have potions on hand because you will be spamming potions, and if you do have mana issues with your class, pick up some mana potions as well because you'll need that. Some important crystals that I'd recommend just picking up earlier on. Experience crystals, they're a couple mil each, maybe 5 mil a pop. They're not too expensive. And they are really, really going to help you out for a very, very long time. You're going to keep these in your helmets to basically level 62, if not at least level 61. So put the investment in now and grab these crystals. If you want, you can grab some luck crystals for either your armor or your gloves. It doesn't really matter which one at this point. But you can skip this. It's not really that important. If you think having plus 5 luck makes a difference to drops, then go ahead and do it. But it's not that important. However, I would definitely recommend picking up the absorption crystals. These are very, very cheap, maybe 50k or 100k off the central market. And what they'll do is give you plus 1 health per hit. So since your DP is quite low, this will help you sustain at Nagas. And finally, grab the crit hit for your AP offhand. Now, if you have the money to pick up a tri AP offhand, that's great. If not, I'd recommend just grinding a little bit more to get the silver required to grab a tri AP offhand, or at the very least a duo, because this is going to give you the biggest boost to AP in terms of being able to grind Nagas. And for your awakening as well, since you've done the awakening quest line, you should be rewarded with a plus 10 awakening weapon. So that one there. I don't know how effective your awakening AP is going to be at 126 for grinding Nagas. You're probably going to just be sticking with your pure awakening just for now. We will be upgrading this weapon later on. You can upgrade it if you already know enhancing and you guys are comfortable doing that. Go ahead and upgrade this to either Pry or Tri. And if you do that, then obviously you're going to have 0 problems. You'll grind Nagas with, you probably won't even need DP at that point, because you'll be grinding Nagas with no issues at all. And I would definitely recommend just keeping the green version of the AP weapon that you get rewarded and not using the blue one, because we just using this to have enough EXP to grind low level areas for now to get our silver and EXP gains. Now, in terms of repairing that awakening weapon, what you're going to need to do is go, I think it's either Calpheon or any weapons, or maybe it's any weapons vendor that sells it. So go to your respective city, go to a weapons vendor, and you can buy the base awakening version for your class to be able to repair it if you are enhancing. If it's not any vendor, then Calpheon 100% definitely has it. So you might have to go to Calpheon, and I think this dude right here is the weapons vendor for Calpheon, and you can definitely buy the Green Awakening weapon for your class over here to be able to repair it, so to do your upgrades. So you've now hit 56. You've come over here, you've grabbed the quest line from this guy, you're gonna do Valencia Part 1, and after you do Valencia Part 1, you'll get rewarded with 520 stacks, 330 stacks, and a 50 stack. What you will then do with the 20 stacks is you will use 3 of them to get your 3 gruntle pieces to pry. This will definitely just help you out grinding these areas and doing Valencia Part 1 again in the future. You will also be rewarded with one of these red sand crystals, which you will upgrade to try, which is very easy to do. Along with the red sand crystal, you will also get rewarded with the stones to level it up when you do Valencia Part 1. And this is what the stones look like, just in case you guys are wondering. So this is the one. Freed magical blackstones used to upgrade it from base to pry to duo to try, and freed magical shard is used to repair it. That's right, repair it so it does not break when you're enhancing it. That's why it's a very good ring and very easy to upgrade. I would use a 0 stack to get this to pry. I would use probably a 10 stack to get it to duo, and at most a 20 stack to get it to try. But I would just keep leveling up your stack until you get to roughly around 50% success chance. Stop there and just start tapping it, because it shouldn't take too many attempts if you don't one tap it for it to enhance to the next level. So now this is roughly, just imagine these are grunnels. So this is roughly what your gear should be looking like. I've just substituted a duo Rosar longsword because it's very similar to the Black Star weapon that you guys are going to be using. I've bought these off the central market for test purposes. But what we're going to do now is we're going to repeat this Valencia Part 1 quest line on another character to be able to get another one of these rings, because this is really your easiest upgrade. And doing Valencia questline also gives you really good contribution points. So after we do this Valencia questline another time, we're going to start talking about making some money through cooking. Now what you're going to want to do is take your character back to Velia, where all your other characters that you've created should be hanging around. If they're not hanging around there and you haven't actually logged into them, what you got to do is log into that character that should be level 1. You will spawn right here. I would recommend doing the first couple of quests. You will basically do the first couple of quests until you get into the cave, where there'll be a little cutscene. After that cutscene, I will stop and just kill enough of the little wolves in that area to get to about level 7/8. Take that character to Velia, grab all the gear that's in your storage from your previous character. So in my case, it's a warrior. So all these items I currently have on me will be in my Velia storage place. I will take it out on my brand new level 7 character, and then you will start leveling. In my tests with this gear, it took me over 4 hours to do it, but I was taking plenty of breaks in between. I didn't use a horse, and I was also looking after the baby for a couple of hours during the test. So I was grinding very slowly. If you were to grind at full speed, I would imagine this will take you no more than 2.5 hours at most. Probably more closer around the 2-hour mark with this gear to get from level 0 to 55 on your new character. So what you are going to do is you're going to start here at goblins, and I'll put some footage in the background to show you guys what it looks like with your current gear. But you will stay to in goblins to roughly around level 17, maybe 18. Then you're going to come down here to Nagas. You're going to stay here to roughly level 23. And then you're going to come down to Bloody Monastery. You will probably stay in Bloody Monastery to around level 27, 28. And then from Bloody Monastery, you're going to go up to Kurutu's cave, and you'll stay here to roughly around level 33 to 34. From the cave, you will go to Mask Owl Forest, and you will stay here to roughly level 37, 38, probably 38 to be honest. And then from the forest, you will come down to Sonal Camp, and you will stay at Sonal Camp to around level 43. And then at 43, you're going to come to Giant's Post. You'll stay here to around level 46, 47. And at 47, you're going to come to Rutum's Outstation. You'll stay here till 48 or 49. And then from here, we're going to do a little sidetrack. So normally, you would come to Catfish Camp to be able to grind to level 50 as quickly as possible. But we're going to take a little detour. Instead of going to Catfish Camp straight away, I'd recommend coming down here to Treant Forest to grind the Treant accessories that are going to be really useful for your shy later on. So I believe Treant Forest gives the necklace. So you'll stay here until you get the necklace, and then you're going to come up to Mancha Forest, and you will stay at Mancha Forest until you get, I believe it's the rings that drop here. So you'll stay here until you get 2 rings from Mancha Forest, and then you will go to Catfish Camp and you will stay here until you get 2 earrings. You should definitely be past level 50 at this point. You might be 51 or 52. With this current gear, you can, at 52, you can definitely come to Nagas and start grinding Nagas until you get to 55. From when you get here at 52, I would recommend popping a 200% experience buff. Took me about 20 minutes with that gear to get from level 52 to 55. So it's pretty quick once you get here to be able to level yourself up to 55. And then when you get to 55, you're going to come back down to where we are and restart the Valencia questline again to get your 20 stacks, to get some 30 stacks, and to get yourself a extra 50 stack. And now from here, what I definitely recommend you guys doing is getting started on the shy. This is going to slow you down in your short-term progression a little bit, but it's going to set yourself up for some nice consistent daily silver later on. So it is worth doing. You can skip this shy part if you like. If you really don't want a life skill, you can skip it, but I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend getting into the basic cooking because it does make you good money, and shy is just a really, really good life skilling character in general. So what you're going to do is start on a brand new shy. So you're level 1 shy. You're going to take all your armors and accessories and give it to the shy. We're not going to give it the Treant accessories just yet. Keep the Azula accessories on because you're going to need to grind. Well, you're going to need to level your shy up to level 55. What I would recommend doing for your shy is to pick up a pry offhand, which isn't that expensive. I think it's going to cost you maybe 20 mil at the most. So the AP, the Auras of Victari, the AP offhand is the one that you're going to want to pick up. And you will get a Black Abyssal weapon. The way you're going to get the Black Abyssal weapon for your shy is you're going to have to do the main quest line again. This is really, really important for your life skilling ult. You will need to do the main quest line again because you need these inventory slots and it's going to reward you the contribution, which is going to help you out as well. But you don't actually need to awaken your shy, so you can skip that part. After you complete the main quest line in your shy, you will get another Black Abyssal weapon, and you will need to level the shy up to 50, at least 55. I'd recommend getting it to 56 because honestly leveling to 56 is really quick with the 200% EXP buff. At most it will take you an hour, and you will do that at Nagas. Once you get to 56, I wouldn't recommend awakening your shy unless you really want to. But definitely do Valencia part 1 again to get yourself more stacks. You're going to need those stacks, and this is going to get you set up with contribution points. At this point, you're going to do some cooking on your shy. So you should already be, I think shy comes a professional one cooking. But what I would recommend is doing all this cooking in probably Velia. It's a very cheap place to do your cooking. What you can do is come to manage residence and put usage all, and then grab any of these rooms, residences right here. I'd recommend grabbing one that only requires 1 contribution point. So for example, Velia 2-1 only requires 1 contribution point. You'll grab the residence, and you will have to go to your nearest cook to be able to pick up some stations so we can start our basic cooking. To do that, if you're not sure where your cook is, open your map, press down on the D-pad, and go press right bumper or left bumper until you get to the cooking NPC. Press right trigger, and this will take you to the corresponding cooking NPC. Now, the first thing I'd recommend is cooking some beer and cooking some bird meat, and I would recommend cooking maybe 2,000 of each, so you have a nice little stockpile of food for your worker empire. You don't have to worry you won't have to worry about that for a while. And from your cook, to be able to obviously cook, you're going to want to pick up this cooking utensil right here for 1,000 silver. Now, for beer and bird meat, they're very easy to craft. If you come to your crafting notes, we slide over to cooking. You can see for bird meat, you need true chicken meat, and if you followed part 1 of the guide, you should have plenty of chicken meat stored up by now because of one of the nodes that you would have picked up. And these 3 items you can buy from this cook NPC. And then for beer, it's just as easy almost. You just need 5 wheat, so potatoes count as wheat, so those potato nodes that you picked up can be used here. You don't need purified water, so ignore this one here. You just need these 3 ingredients. What this purified water basically is, if you don't want to use mineral water, you could use purified water, but that would be ridiculously stupid because purified water requires a lot more silver than mineral water, which you, again, these 3 items buy from this NPC. So if we come into his inventory, you can see here you could buy salt, cooking wine, mineral water, sugar, deep frying oil, all the things that you need to craft both bird meat and beer. So you'll start crafting those, about 2,000 of each, so you've got a nice stockpile on your food for your worker empire. And with these contribution points you have right now, I would highly recommend expanding that worker empire. So if you guys want a rough idea of what nodes that you want to expand upon, I'd highly recommend watching my Jack of all trades node empire, because that node empire has alchemy stuff in there, cooking stuff in there, processing items in there, some timbers in there. It's got some very good important nodes that is fantastic for investing in. This current node setup I have, just ignore it. This is very specific what I have right now for trading. Trading is not something you want to get into early game at all. It's a very long-term thing, and honestly, if you want to do trading, it's very long-term, and I wouldn't recommend even starting it until you are sure that you like the game and you want to progress, and maybe you're going to take a long break from the game for over a couple weeks, a month or 4 months or 5 months. That's when trading will become more important. For now, ignore trading. We're going to be working on very simple cooking. So watch my guide on the Jack of all trades node empire to get your contributions in the right places. Now, after you've got these items laid out, if you're still very confused and you're not sure what I'm talking about, how to make these items, what do you mean, oh, you need to go to a residence, just go on YouTube and type in the basics of cooking, and there's plenty of videos to get you guys started on how to actually set up your cooking. I'm not going to go into that in this video because it's already very long and I don't want it to be that much longer. After you get these items done, we're going to make another item to start trying to get ready to make some money. And what that item is going to be, so if you go back to cooking and we come here, we see essence of liquor. So you can't cook this item straight away because you need something called wheat flour. Now, wheat flour can easily be gained by grabbing the potatoes that you have in Velia, going to the processing tab, clicking on grinding, click on, let's pretend this is potatoes, your potatoes, and then press Y. This will then grind down your potatoes and it will craft you potato flour, which is the same as wheat flour, and it can be used for this ingredient to create the agent that we just saw, this essence of liquor right here. So you won't be able to crack this out straight away. What I'd recommend is continue grinding Nagas on your main character whilst you're actively playing the game. And then when you have some AFK time, use that AFK time instead of training your weight to now grind down some of this flour. And then when you've got a nice source of flour, at least 400 or 500 flour, if not 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 lots of flour, grab the apples from Olvia, grab the leveling agent from the cooking NPC, and start banging out some materials for some essence of liquor to be able to make some honey wine. So this is honey wine right here. You should have already picked up the honey node that was in my part 1 guide. You've crafted the essence of liquor, and these items, these 2 items you can buy from the vendor. And again, you don't need purified water. Ignore the purified water. You just need sugar and mineral water. So make as much honey wine as you can. And then what you're going to do with this honey wine is go to your Imperial trader that's in your city. So probably one of the closest one for you guys if you are in Velia is going to be down here in Heidel. You can set up your cooking stations in Heidel if you prefer to not have to worry about traveling from Velia to Heidel that often. But obviously if you do that, every time you get a nice little storage of potatoes and chicken down here, just transport those items from Velia to Heidel so you keep all your cooking ingredients down at Heidel. This right here is your Imperial delivery person, and if you come to Imperial delivery crafting, you can see there's all these different items that you can trade in. Now we've been making honey wine, so as you can see here, you need 50 honey wine to create 1 artisan honey wine cooking box. Now it says artisan, so that means your cooking has to be artisan before you can do this. You should be artisan by now. If you've made 2,000 beer, 2,000 bird meat, all that essence of liquor and that honey wine, you should have hit artisan. If you haven't, what I would recommend to make, and also even if you have, you can still also, what I would recommend to make is apprentice 5 grain boxes, because these are obviously a lot cheaper, but they're very, very simple to make. I'll show you the ingredients for that in a second. And this can help top up your daily delivery quantity. So if you just look underneath medicine right here, you see my daily delivery is 115. Yours will be lower. This number here is 1/3 of your total contribution. So my total contribution is 347. Roughly 1/3 of that is 115. So I can hand in 115 total boxes a day to the Imperial vendor. So what you would do is, again, come to processing, come over to Imperial cuisine, open your inventory. You would then click on the honey wine that's in your inventory and press Y, and you will start creating these artisan boxes to hand in to the craft delivery manager that's directly in front of me right now. It is important to note that these boxes are very, very heavy, so make sure you've got all the honey wine and the 5-grain chicken in your inventory. Stand in front of this lady and just start producing 4, 5, up to I think maybe 10 boxes at most, depending on your weight. However many you can before you become over encumbered, and hand it into this lady. If you become over encumbered, you cannot do any hand-ins. So if you're not paying attention, you go over 100% weight, you would slowly have to walk back to the storage manager and empty some weight out to be able to then come back and give in your crates to this lady over here. So make sure you're paying attention to your weight when you are doing this. And for creating the 5-grain chicken, you will need to make something called chicken stew with grains. So again, these two items, well, this item you're going to have in your storage, this item you can buy from the vendor. To get minced bird meat, you can process your chicken to be able to get this minced bird meat. If you don't want to waste time processing, you can buy it off the central market. You will still make profit crafting the stew with grains if you were to buy this off the central market, but obviously you would make more profit if you were to grind your own meat. But this chicken stew with grains is not going to be your primary source of silver. This is going to be your top up. So if you don't have enough honey wine, you would use the chicken stew just to top up your hand-ins, so you're just making that little bit extra silver. And there's one more important note. When you are handing these in, you can see next to these the 5-grain chicken right here, there is a 0, which means even if you did have apprentice 5-grain chicken, you will not be able to hand in any to this vendor, because other players have already fulfilled the maximum amount that she was willing to buy for now. If you look at these numbers, 26, 28, 27, and let's go down to the honey wine, 30, you can only hand in 30 honey wine boxes to this NPC. She will then no longer accept any more boxes from you. So what you would have to do is change channels, because that amount that she can buy from you is server specific. So if I was to change from Calfield 1 to Archer, Valencia, Balnos, I can then sell those items to this vendor. And in most videos that you watch when it comes to Imperial hand-ins, they're going to tell you that there is a 10 to 15 minute wait before you can do your hand-ins. However, they've taken that restriction away from console, so you can literally just switch channels and instantly be able to do your Imperial hand-ins, which is a very, very big buff for us, and it's actually really, really good. So be happy about that. And this is going to be great silver. Depending on the contribution points, you're going to make minimum extra 10 mil silver a day, up to 30 mil for very little effort after you get set up. Because literally all you have to do is spend anything from like 10 minutes to an hour cooking, depending on your cooking times, to hand these crates in. Now, when it comes to cooking times, there is multiple ways. If you've already watched some cooking videos, you're going to know this information already, but there is multiple ways to reduce your cooking time. Now, one of the easiest ways to reduce your cooking time is to come to the central market and buy yourself some life spirit stones. As you can see, this reduces your cooking time by minus 1.1%. The next best way to reduce your cooking time is come get some functional cloves. As you can see, there's plenty of +3 cooking cloves on the market. You can just pick these up if you don't want to enhance them yourself. You might save a little bit of money doing your own enhancement, buying them from base and enhancing them to try. But again, if you don't want to go through that hassle, just buy it, just buy +3, and that will reduce your cooking time by another 4 seconds. For another way is there is a pay to win way of reducing cooking time as well. If you come to Pearl Shop and outfits, I think it's costumes, and you get the canopy set for your class, this will further decrease your cooking time by another 2 seconds. And finally, you can also come down to Glish, get the tool workstations at Glish. So you can get this tool workstation at Glish, which then allow you to make these advanced cooking utensils. This will decrease your cooking time by another second. You can also buy them if they're available. You can buy them from the central market as well, but usually they're not available. So let's have a quick look. There's actually 12. So if you don't want to go make them yourself, you can buy these off the central market. They have 900 durability, so you can make 900 cooking crafts, and again, -1 second to your cooking time. If you have all of these items, +3 cloves, with the pay to win item, with the cooking utensil and the life spirit stone, I think you'll get down to 1 second cook time. However, I know that if you have +4 cooking cloves, it's definitely 1 second, and I think +3 might also get you to 1 second cook time as well. And finally, one last item that you can also have if you don't have 1 second cook times is Tef Sandwich. Tef Sandwich will also reduce your cooking time by another ½ a second. So you should get pretty close to 1 second cook times at that point, and you'll easily be able to crack out these foods very quickly. It is a little bit of an investment to start with, but over time this is gonna make you a lot of money. And I use this early game to prepare to increase my silver significantly to be able to get to where I am today. So that is why I'm suggesting it to you guys to do it as well. Now this guide has been very, very long. I think we're over 30 minutes now, so I apologize, but I'm gonna have to cut it short here. So there will be a part 3 guide. Part 3 guide will probably be a quick 10-minute guide, because at this point you're pretty much set up, and I will just be talking about grinding areas and goals in part 3, what goals you want to set yourself and what upgrades you're going to want to get. But you're going to have to wait for that video, and I will try to get that out to you guys as soon as possible. Guys, I hope this has helped you. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in part 3.